What if I told you every woman you've ever dated has tested you, not to manipulate, not to confuse, but to uncover your truth? Because deep down, she doesn't just want a man who says the right things. She wants to know if you are who you say you are. Let's break down the 8 secret psychological tests women use to separate the boys from the men. 1. The silence test. Will you chase or stay grounded? There's a moment in every budding connection where she pulls back. She stops texting as much. Her responses slow down, her energy dips. At first glance, it feels like she's losing interest, but if you zoom out and pay attention, it's more strategic than emotional. This is what we call the silence test. She's not just going quiet, she's observing how you react to her absence. You see, in today's world, a lot of women have been burned, ghosted, manipulated, led on, so instead of jumping all in, she pulls away to test your emotional stability. Will you spiral? Will you double text, triple text, demand answers, beg for validation? Or will you stand firm? What most men don't realize is that women don't want you to chase them. They want to know you're not easily shaken, that when life gets silent, your sense of self doesn't fall apart. Because here's what's really being asked. Can you stay rooted in who you are when I take away the attention? Can you remain whole even when I stop feeding your ego? If your entire energy shifts just because she stopped texting back immediately, it sends a dangerous message that your confidence isn't real, it's conditional. Passing this test requires emotional maturity. You acknowledge her pullback, but you don't panic. You don't start convincing or pleading. You lean back, you maintain your energy, you focus on your path. You let her silence do the talking, and your stillness becomes your answer. Because the truth is, if she's truly interested, she'll feel that absence, and if you remain centered, you'll stand out. Not as the man who chased, but as the man who couldn't be shaken. And in a world of needy, reactive men, that's power. 2. The jealousy test. Can you stay cool under pressure? This one's subtle, but potent. You're hanging out, things are good, and suddenly she brings up a guy friend, or her ex, or someone from work who's just funny, or always texts her memes. She drops the name casually, watches your body language, maybe even throws in a smirk. Most men interpret this as manipulation, but in female psychology, it's much deeper. This is the jealousy test, and it's not about drama, it's about security. She wants to see how you handle competition, not because she wants you to fight, but because she's measuring your internal security. Here's the question she's really asking. Are you confident in what we're building? Or will you fold the moment another man is mentioned? See, men who are truly secure don't get rattled when a woman brings up other men. They don't start comparing, they don't puff up their chests, they trust themselves, they know their worth. And most importantly, they don't play emotional tug-of-war over attention. But when a man reacts with jealousy, when he tries to one-up the other guy or becomes passive-aggressive, that's a red flag to her subconscious. It screams, I don't believe I'm enough, so I need to control what you see. Passing this test isn't about pretending not to care. It's about responding, not reacting. When she drops the name, smile, stay relaxed. Don't shift your energy, maybe make a confident joke or change the subject without insecurity. Because if you can stay cool under that subtle pressure, she won't just respect you more, she'll start craving the calm confidence you embody. And that's something no funny guy at work can compete with. 3. The last-minute change test. How will you handle disrespect? You've made plans, the date is set, everything's good. Until suddenly she texts, hey, can we reschedule? Or worse, no show with a vague excuse. Now here's where most guys trip up. They let it slide. They act unbothered. They say, no worries, when deep down, they feel disrespected. And that's exactly what she's testing for. This isn't always about her being flaky. It's a subconscious move to test your boundaries. She's asking a very real question with her behavior. Will you call it out or will you stay silent to keep me? When a woman changes plans at the last minute, especially more than once, she's not just checking your flexibility, she's checking your self-respect. You see, women are biologically wired to seek strength in men. Not physical strength, but emotional and leadership strength. And part of leadership is setting and enforcing your standards. Now, most men confuse being agreeable with being a good guy, but here's the truth she's hoping you understand. If you don't respect your time, neither will she. Passing this test doesn't mean blowing up on her or acting cold. It means calmly but firmly expressing that your time is valuable. Something like, hey, I understand life happens, but I prioritize people who respect my time. Let me know when you're more certain about plans. This subtle boundary isn't about punishing her. It's about signaling that you don't tolerate inconsistency, not because you're insecure, but because you're grounded. The man who passes this test stands out immediately. Why? Because he shows he values himself more than chasing approval. And ironically, that's exactly the kind of energy that makes a woman feel safer and more drawn to you. 4. The emotional dump test. Can you handle my truth? One night, it happens. You're talking, and she suddenly opens up. She tells you something raw, maybe about her past, her trauma, a fear, a wound. It's vulnerable, it's messy, it's real, and it's not by accident. This is the emotional dump test, and it's one of the most critical. What she's really doing is offering you a glimpse into her shadow. She wants to know, can you handle all of me? Not just the cute, happy Instagram version, but the real me? Because here's what most men don't get. Women don't want a savior. They want someone who can sit in the fire of their truth and not flinch. Failing this test looks like this: interrupting her, offering quick solutions, minimizing her feelings, or worst, becoming emotionally distant after. Why? Because it tells her, my darkness is too much for you. And once she believes that, the connection dies. Passing this test means you stay present, you listen without judgment, you don't try to fix her, you just hold the emotional space. Your body language is calm, your tone is grounding, your energy says, I'm not going anywhere. And when you pass this test, something incredible happens. She stops testing, she starts trusting, because now she knows you're not just attracted to her highlights, you've got the strength to love her through the storm. 5. The Flirt-With-Others Test. Will you compete or stay composed? She's being extra friendly, posting a flirty story, laughing with some guy in public. She's not cheating, but she's definitely broadcasting herself more than usual. And your instincts, they're kicking in hard. You feel tension, discomfort, maybe even jealousy. This is the Flirt-With-Others Test. And it's not about making you angry. It's about revealing something deeper. Do you feel secure in who you are? A woman knows that men with low self-worth will spiral the moment she gives other men attention. They'll react, become possessive, confrontational, even passive-aggressive. That tells her you're not confident, you're territorial. But here's the twist. The men who pass this test don't react at all. They don't get jealous, they don't argue, they don't ask who the guy was. They just observe and maintain their frame, because they know. When you are the mountain, you don't chase butterflies. This test is psychological warfare, but it's also a window into how you manage ego. React with panic and you lose her respect. Respond with calm certainty and you gain her curiosity. Why? Because now she's asking herself, why isn't he reacting? Why is he so unbothered? And that mystery, that poise, that's what makes her realize she's dealing with a man, not a boy. 6. The compliment test. Are you easily manipulated by praise? One day, she starts showering you with compliments. You're so different from other guys. You're really smart. You'd be such an amazing boyfriend. And you're flying high until suddenly she goes cold. What just happened? You just experienced the compliment test. And it's a test most men fail without even realizing it. Here's the psychology. Women use compliments to test if a man's confidence is real or if it's built on external validation. If she gives you praise and suddenly your behavior changes, you become more agreeable, start texting more, or chase harder. She learns that your sense of worth is bought with attention, and that makes her question everything. Because here's what most guys don't see. A compliment is not an invitation to perform. It's an opportunity to stay grounded. The man who passes this test says, "Thank you," and moves on. He doesn't inflate. He doesn't start acting like a puppy, waiting for more treats. He remains solid. And that solidness, that's what tells her, you don't need my approval, and that's exactly why I want to give it. 7. The sexual patience test. Are you here for me or for access? You're dating, the chemistry is there. But she's not moving fast sexually. Maybe she's waiting, maybe she's unsure. Whatever the case, she wants to see what you'll do without the reward. This is the sexual patience test. And it's a test of your intent. Are you really there for her, her soul, her energy, her presence? Or are you just enduring the emotional part, hoping it leads to intimacy? Women feel this on a primal level. If a man gets irritated, distant, or starts backing off the moment sex isn't on the table, she knows. She was never the goal. She was the obstacle between him and his ego boost. The man who passes this test, he's patient. Not because he doesn't want her, but because he respects her timing. He values connection over conquest. And ironically, that restraint, that maturity, it's what opens her up faster. because now she knows she's not being pursued for pleasure. She's being seen as a whole human being. And when that happens, walls drop, trust forms, desire deepens. 8. The crisis test. Will you collapse or lead when life gets hard? Every woman will go through something heavy while dating you. A loss, anxiety, family drama. And when it hits, she won't need you to fix it. She'll need to see how you hold yourself when things fall apart. This is the crisis test, and it's the most important of all, because when a woman's world gets chaotic, what she's silently asking is, can you be my calm in the storm? This isn't about solving her problems. It's about watching how you handle pressure. Do you shut down emotionally? Do you deflect or disappear? Or do you show up, steady, grounded, and composed? The man who passes this test doesn't force solutions. He creates emotional space. He says things like, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, we'll figure this out. He's unshakable. And when she sees that, when she feels it in her nervous system, she realizes she's not just dating a man. She's found a partner, a protector, a leader. And that's the kind of man she doesn't want to test anymore. She wants to stand beside. The truth is, women don't test you to hurt you. They test you to see the truth of you. Behind every subtle silence, every delayed reply, every moment of emotional exposure, she's asking one thing. Are you strong enough to lead me, love me, and not lose yourself? Because if you pass her tests, not by acting perfect, but by being grounded, she'll stop testing and start trusting. If this video opened your eyes to something real, drop a comment below. Now I see the tests. Let's talk about what you've experienced. Because trust me, you're not alone. Like this video if it hit home. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a breakdown of the deep psychology behind female behavior in relationships. This is Olivia Rose, and I'll see you in the next one where we keep decoding the psychology of love, truth, and power.